Hassan has launched a commission tasked with strengthening criminal justice institutions. "50 households in Vijibweni, Kigamboni set up camp at Mkwajuni Street office to determine their fate. And in sports, the government says it is committed to construct sports centers for children. Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, has called on criminal justice institutions to adhere to the fundamentals of the law, professionalism, equality, justice, as well as traditions and customs of Tanzanians when overseeing criminal justice. The President said this today during the launch of the commission formed to look into how to strengthen criminal justice institutions at a ceremony held at State House in Chamwino, Dodoma.
Nadhani wote tutakubaliana kwamba katika kipindi cha miongo kadhaa mfumo wa haki jinai nchini umevurugika. Na umevurugika kwa sababu nadhani
I think we can all agree that the criminal justice system in the country has been disrupted because of dismissal and disregard of having a system of values. Every institution mentioned here has their own set of values. Due to this and loss of justice for people, especially those who are of low authority and income, have been losing their rights and have gone through things they should not have gone through. Thus, I want us to review our systems and look at where we made mistakes and where to make improvements. And residents of 50 households in Vijibweni, Kigamboni, Dar es Salaam have set up camp at their Mkwajuni Street office after demolition signs were placed on their houses in order to determine their fate.
Sasa hivi leo tulikuwa kwenye hatua ya kufukua bomba ili wananchi wajiridhishe bomba lilipo na tupime mita 15, lakini wananchi waliomba wapate mtu kutoka wizara ili mradi aje atupimie yale maeneo vizuri. Kuna baadhi wako sahihi, kuna baadhi hawapo sahihi.
Cha kufanya ni kitu kimoja tu. Savia wa serikali aje na ramani ya eneo lile, wathibitishe eneo la tazama ni lipi, alafu ndio mambo mengine yaanzie hapo.
Na kama liko upande wenu pengine?
Kama kwa upande wetu tazama tabeba lawama kwa sababu wao waliweka bikoni zao, tukajiga kufuatana na bikoni zile walizoweka wao.
And the Speaker of Parliament, Dr. Tulia Ackson, while in Parliament, called on the government to take more action to prevent the increase of student pregnancies after the government released high statistics of students who became pregnant between 2020 to 2022.
Katika kipindi cha mwaka 2021 na 2022, wanafunzi wa shule za msingi waliopata ujauzito ni 1554 na katika shule za sekondari ni wanafunzi 7457. Mheshimiwa Spika, hadi kufikia mwezi Januari 2023, wanafunzi waliorejea shuleni baada ya kukatiza masomo kwa sababu ya ujauzito na kuendelea na masomo ya elimu ya sekondari ni 1692.
Tutatamani kujua, si leo kwa sababu ni swala la takwimu. Hizi takwimu ni kubwa sana kwa ujauzito shule za msingi lakini pia sekondari. Tungependa kujua kati ya hawa, kwa sababu hawa ni binadamu. Hapa kila mmoja ni binti. Maana yake yuko aliyempa huo ujauzito. Kati ya hawa na wale waliowapa ujauzito ni wangapi ambao wameshachukuliwa hatua?
And Tanzania Electricity Supply Company TANESCO said that power supplies continue to improve, with the company planning to oversee repair of damaged infrastructure in all areas of the country so that there is reliable electricity at all times.
Kuimarika kwa hali
ni kutokana na kukamilika kwa hatua zote za muda mfupi na hatua nyingi za muda wa kati. Hatua ambazo zimekamilika, tumekamilisha kwa mfano
The improvement of the situation is due to completion of all short-term steps and many middle-term steps. We have completed repairing Kierezi number 2 power plant and entering 45 megawatts into the grid on the 24th of November 2022. We have completed repairs on 2 plants in Ubungo number 3, adding 35 and 40 megawatts of electricity into the national grid. And as the cost of living continues to rise daily, some economists, politicians, entrepreneurs and citizens have said that there are things that need to be reviewed, including tax systems, agricultural sector and major government expenditures in order to improve the situation.
Naona kwamba kuna miradi mingi inaendelea. Kwa hiyo kama miradi mingi inaendelea, lazima tuweze kuishi kwa namna hii. Baada ya muda nadhani mambo yatakuwa mazuri. Yeah.
Na hii miradi unadhani kwa mtizamo wako tutaiona inafuu baada ya muda gani?
Kwa sababu miradi mara nyingi ni development project ameenda miaka mingi sana.
Kwanza ndio maana tunasema kwamba nani kama mama, kwamba kama wanao wanawaangalia hivyo, hiyo ardhi ya ekari 10 leo unapata bure. We Mtanzania wa aina gani utakuwa huna shukrani? Yani ardhi ya ekari 10 unapata bure. Umewahi kusikia wapi duniani leo watu wanatoa ardhi ya ekari 10?
Ninatambua nchi yetu imepigwa na janga hili la gharama za maisha kupanda, masuala ya COVID pamoja na vita vya Ukraine. Lakini kitu kikubwa ambacho kinanishangaza ni jinsi ambavyo serikali pamoja na ugumu wa maisha, pamoja na changamoto tulizonazo, serikali bado haijapunguza matumizi yake. Matumizi ya serikali yameendelea kuwa kama kawaida.
Dar es Salaam Water and Sewerage Authority DAWASA has begun an exercise in various parts of Dar es Salaam to clean all water production and distribution systems from Lower Ruvu Water Plant, which included filtration systems, tanks and water distribution pipes.
Over the night, tuligawa timu za simu za usambazaji pamoja na manpower kutosha na vifaa, tukaifacilitate vitu vya kutosha, tuhakikisha kwamba tunamaliza on time ili kuweza kurudisha huduma on time. Asilimia hiyo 75 inajazwa na idadi ya matenki 6 kati ya matenki 8 ambayo yalipangwa kuwekwa kufanyia usafi.
And the President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, while speaking to entrepreneurs at State House in Zanzibar, has called on them to lower food prices for the interests of the country.
Ndugu zangu wafanya biashara, hali ya ndani si nzuri. Sisi tuone tabu mwananchi wa kawaida kununua mchele kwa 3,000.
Entrepreneurs, the local situation is not good. We should find it difficult for an average citizen to purchase rice for 3,000 shillings when the same rice 2 years ago when we entered office was being sold for 1,700 shillings. Today we are at almost double the price. It is hurting people. Despite the good price in the mainland, let us agree to lose out on that profit at this time and lower prices.
Biashara hawataki yani kulipa kile ambacho kinastahili kwenda kwa serikali. Tunazo hizi risiti mheshimiwa, na wengine wapo hapa, yani wala sio vizuri kuonesha, lakini hilo ni jambo ambalo limekuwa likijitokeza kwamba linapotoka hilo basi zinatoka kwa bei ambayo sio bei yenyewe.
Na matarajio upande wetu kiasi baada ya wiki moja tarehe 4 tuna meli ya break bulk.
Expectations on our sides is that after 1 week there is a ship we expect to arrive, and when it does, we expect to be able to lower the pressure that we have now and also lower the inflation rate. The Joint United Nations Programs on HIV/AIDS, UNAIDS, has called on the government of Tanzania to have strategies aimed at helping people living with HIV/AIDS instead of depending on donors who may decide to stop supporting the group once Tanzania becomes a middle-income economy. This was shared by the Executive Director of UNAIDS and Under Secretary General of the United Nations, Winnie Byanyima, when visiting the National Council of People Living with HIV, NACOFA, and Mbagala Hospital in Dar es Salaam.
But I see strong cooperation between civil society and the government. The third point is the question of sustaining the effort, because people in the villages, young people especially, still don't know enough about prevention, don't know where to go to get help. So these leaders are needed. But how will we keep funding them? Today they are funded by donors abroad, but these donors will go because they are saying Tanzania is becoming rich, we don't need to be here. So we have to think with them how this work will continue when donors start to go away because Tanzania becomes middle-income country.
And that is all for the national news. International news is next. In international news, Pope Francis has arrived in the Democratic Republic of Congo to deliver a message of peace and reconciliation to the country hit by conflict. The pontiff will stay in the DRC until Friday before heading to Juba, the capital of Sudan. The trip to the two African countries will be Pope Francis' 40th abroad since he was elected the head of the Catholic Church in 2013 and his 5th visit to Africa. And in Kenya, former President Uhuru Kenyatta has dismissed claims of being victimized by the current administration and said that he is focused on his other duties to be bothered by what he termed as idle talk. Uhuru Kenyatta was responding to Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka after he hit out at the government over an alleged plot to mistreat the former head of state. The two leaders were among those who had gone to give their condolences at the home of the late former Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, following his sudden death last week.
And I believe that when I made him a minister, in bringing on board a new education system, people may say whatever they want to say. Hiyo ni wataongea, utaona watarudi tu hapo hapo. Ngoja wacha wapatiwe nafasi wapige mgumzo.
And Liberia's President George Weah has told Parliament he would run for re-election this year after a first term marred with corruption allegations and an economic downturn. George Weah took office in the West African country's first peaceful change of power in 7 decades and is constitutionally eligible to run again in the October 10th polls. Weah, a former international footballer who rose to fame from a slum in Monrovia, clinched a landslide runoff victory in the last general election from the support of young people and the poor. And that is the end of international news. Business news is next after this break. And now in business news. Chief Justice Professor Ibrahim Juma has said trade disputes need to be resolved without delay in order to create a conducive business and investment environment in the country that will contribute to rapid economic growth.
Tunatakiwa tusikilize yale mashauri na kuyatolea uamuzi katika muda ambao.
We need to listen to the cases and make rulings in a timely manner with no delays. By doing so, we enable entrepreneurs to continue with their activities with no impediments.
Taangalia kwa mfano kanuni za kisheria, sheria pamoja na taratibu za uendeshaji wa mashauri.
We will look at the principles of law and procedures in running of cases to see how they enable or hinder business operations. And residents in the Kahama District, Shinyanga region have urged the government to allocate land for vanilla farming so as to develop the crop that shows great potential of improving the income of farmers in the country.
Na kwa vile tayari tumeshapata mwongozo na tayari tuko katika utaratibu wa kutengeneza kikundi.
Because we have already received guidelines and are in the process of forming a group, we pledge to work with this company so that we can also meet our needs. The aim of the demonstration farm is to also raise talents of people who want to grow. The Deputy Minister of Investment, Industry and Trade, Exard Kigahe, has called on farmers to join primary cooperatives and sell their crops to the cooperatives in order to avoid incurring losses by selling to unscrupulous middlemen. For them to get good prices, they must have places to sell them. So the plan through the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Trade, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture and the President's Office for Regional Administration and Local Government, must organize specific areas for farmers to sell their crops. That's all for business news. Sports is next. Now in sports. The Deputy Minister for Culture, Arts and Sports, Pauline Gekule, said the government recognizes the importance of sports for children and will continue to construct sports centers for children.
The government acknowledges the importance of sports for children because the performance of different teams is a result of participation of children at an early stage, which can lead to an ease in recognizing and developing talents. The government strategically plans to develop children by making sure there are many competitions that involve children.
And football players have been urged to have their own lawyers for security of their contracts and to avoid unnecessary conflicts.
Lazima wasimame, kila mchezaji hakikishe anakuwa na mwanasheria na wa kuweza kumsimamia.
Every player should stand and make sure they have a lawyer who can assist them in fighting for their rights, because today you're, let's say, playing for Mbeya City or Kagera or any other team. But tomorrow, you never know. You might be needed at El Ahly or Nigeria or other country.
Unakwendaje kama wewe huna mwanasheria?
Tanzania will be represented by 10 sailors in the African Sailing Championship scheduled to take place from the 2nd to 5th of May this year in Morocco.
Tuko kwenye pilika za kutafuta sponsor, ingawa tulishapata baadhi ya watu wametuahidi kwa ajili ya.
We are in the process of trying to get sponsors, although we have already got pledges which may not be enough. So we are trying to find others so we can have enough sponsors. Because this year we wish to send 10 sailors, 1 official, 1 coach and 1 manager. So a total of like 13 people.
And the Ubungo Football Association, UFA, will run a 7-day course for 20 Ubungo District primary school teachers next month, with the trainer coming from the Football Federation, TFF.
We want to bring value to our district. You know, you have to start at your own home. We have already spoken to our district sports official, and the program is proceeding well. So they will find for us 20 teachers for primary schools and 20 teachers for secondary schools.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Watch Capital News at 9:30 and get updated on what is happening in Tanzania and around the world on political, social, and economic issues and events, without forgetting business and sports news. You can get it all right here on Capital News at 9:30 from Monday to Friday on Zuku Channel 067, Digitech Channel 1103, and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania.
Wildlife crime doesn't just kill millions of wild animals.
It threatens millions of jobs.
Illegal activities are destroying the balance of nature.
It threatens our natural heritage and our children's futures. Please don't stay on the bench.
Defend our wildlife. Report the illegal killing and trading of wild animals.
Join our team
against wildlife crime.
Ujumbe huu unaletwa kwenu na World Aid kwa kushirikiana na ITV.
Sasa unaweza kutangaza biashara yako hapa ITV ukiwa popote Tanzania. Wasiliana na mawakala wetu wa mikoani.
Moshi Boisafi Shopping Center 0767552551.